Hello everyone. So finally we have covered the most important components of chapter 1. Now we will start the chapter 2 of Nitin Singhania. Again, there are few topics which I have skipped in chapter 1. Reason is they will be covered along with a few other topics in the later part of the book, that is in the remaining chapters. Okay, now let's start. So today's topic is actually quite simple, still quite complicated. That is GDP, GNP. Okay, let's try to simplify that. Just a second. Hmm. Now, first thing first, the concept of GDP was given by Simon Kuznet. We have already covered the Kuznet curve. What was the Kuznet curve? In simple language, Kuznet curve says that initially, because of economic growth, there will be inequality in the society. However, over a period of time, there will be trickle down, and subsequently, the benefits will reach to lower strata of society. So, inequality will go down. We have also covered Kuznet environmental curve, that initially economic growth will lead to degradation of environment, but over a period of time new technology will come and therefore the damage to environment will go down. So concept of GDP was given by Simon Kuznet. Now understand two important things. GDP basically have three terms: gross domestic product. Gross means what? Gross means total. Total. Domestic means in the domestic boundary of that particular country or of that particular area. Product means what? Product means goods and services. So GDP is the monetary value or the economic value of all the final goods. Understand the keyword here, final. All the final goods and services produced in the economic boundary of a country. In a very simple sense, final means it will not cover intermediate goods. Now, what was the concept of intermediate goods? Intermediate goods basically are those goods which require further processing. Let's say there is a tire company, MRF. If MRF sell tires to Tata Motors, then whenever we will consider the car of Tata Motors, by default it will have tires. So if we will count tires at two stages, let me simplify that. If we will count tires at MRF stage and then at Tata Motors stage, what will happen? We will count the same tire at two level. This is referred as double counting. Double counting. So in a very simple sense, if we will count tires, let's say MRF has produced 4 tires. So we will say MRF has produced 4 tire. MRF sold these 4 tire to Tata and now they manufactured one car. So by default, when we are considering a car, it will inherently have tires. I mean, please don't purchase a car without tires. Point is that if you will count these 4 tires at this level and later at this level, then it will lead to double counting. So to avoid double counting, only final goods are considered. In fact, this can be asked as a question that the intermediate goods are also considered. No, they are not. Second thing, the GDP cover the economic value of the items. Economic basically means something which can be quantified. Quantified. Quantified basically means you can count it. Therefore, those items which cannot be quantified are not part of GDP. Cannot be quantified basically means there is no fixed monetary value of that particular good or service. For example, the work done by our mothers for the family, they are not paid any money for that household work. So, will it be part of GDP? The answer is no. Why it won't be? Because we cannot quantify it. Why we cannot quantify? Because they are not paid any fixed salary for that work. But if the same work will be done by domestic help, will that be counted? Yes, that will be counted. Why? Because domestic help is being paid money for that work. So that is GDP. Now let's try to understand what is the meaning of this term economic territory. So basically, economic territory means the political boundaries of India. First thing first. Hmm. Political boundaries of India basically means that whatever is our national boundary, that is our economic territory. Apart from that, the concept of economic territory is slightly wider than political boundary. Political boundary means, okay, this is within the boundary of India. Apart from that, if there is any ship or aircraft which is operated by the residents of India, let me simplify it. Let's say there's a flight of Air India and it is from India to US. Okay, now right now it is in US. Right now it is in US. So technically it is in the political boundary of in US. But as far as the economic territory of India is concerned, it will be counted in the GDP of India. Understand this point carefully. Okay, now you might think what is being produced in Air India. So when air hostess serve you meal, that is a service that is being produced in the air or in the uh, particular location. For example, right now the plane is in USA. So that service is being produced in USA, but it will be part of GDP of India. Why it will be part of GDP of India? Because all the ships and aircrafts which are operated by residents, that will be part of economic territory of India, and whatever is being produced in this economic territory will be part of GDP of India. Similarly, if there is a plane of US in India, that will be part of GDP of USA. Third point is embassies. For example, there is Indian embassy in Australia. Technically, it is situated in the political boundary of Australia, but that embassy is part of economic territory of India, and therefore it whatever is being produced there, good or service, will be part of GDP of India. Apart from that, if there is India's military establishment in any other country, for example, if there is a military establishment in some country, India's military establishment, then technically it is in the boundary of that country, but that will be part of economic territory of India, and therefore that will be part of GDP of India. So far we have covered the basic concepts of GDP. Now let's try to understand what is not covered in GDP. First thing first, transfer payment. Transfer payment basically means unilateral payment. Unilateral or one directional payment. For example, subsidy or scholarship. So government transfer this money to the people. In return, government does not receive any fixed good or service. Therefore, these items or these transactions will not be part of GDP. Understand it this way. Let's say government provided 6,000 rupee to farmers. Can government quantify what good or service has been produced from that 6,000? Did government receive anything for that money? No, and therefore this is not covered in GDP. That means these transactions are not covered in GDP. Second is a barter system. Barter system basically means exchange. For example, I am saying that I will give you this pen. In exchange of this pen, you will have to give me a water bottle. Now, can we quantify the value of this pen or water bottle in this transaction? The answer is no. And therefore, it will not be part of GDP. Third is care economy. Care economy basically means the work done by the people for the care of others. One classic example is the work done by our mothers. So they take care of the entire family and they are not paid. Since they are not paid, it is not possible to quantify their work, and that's why the unpaid, understand the keyword here, unpaid care economy is not part of GDP calculation. Why it is not part? Because we cannot quantify how much is the economic value of their work. Okay, so these are some of the exceptions. Apart from that, informal economy is also not quantified. What is informal economy? Informal economy basically means they do not have fixed terms and conditions. No, fixed terms and conditions. Now, if they won't have fixed terms and conditions, we cannot quantify the value of their work. Apart from that, even black economy or black money is not covered. Black money is not covered. Why it is not covered? The reason is we cannot have exact data of it. What is black money? Black money is the money on which tax is not paid. What is white money? White money is the legal money on which tax is paid. There is a process to convert black money into white money that is known as money laundering. We will cover this in taxation as well. So, money laundering is a process to convert black money into white money. To prevent this, we have a legislation named as Prevention of Money Laundering Act. This is implemented through Enforcement Directorate or ED. Okay. So far, we have covered what is GDP, what is covered in GDP, what is not covered in GDP, what is the concept of economic territory of India. Now, let's try to understand one more concept, GNP. We will cover GNP in detail in the next lecture, but as of now, let's try to understand the simple difference between them. GNP refers to gross national product. Gross national product. Gross again means total. National means produced by Indian product. And on the other hand, GDP basically refers to gross domestic product. So GDP is area specific concept. GNP is nationality specific concept. Let's try to simplify it. Let's say there is a apple manufacturing unit in Tamil Nadu. Okay. Now, technically, this particular this plant is situated in the area of which country? It is in Tamil Nadu. That means it will be part of GDP of which country? It will be part of GDP of India. But this particular company, Apple, is a company of USA. So this will be part of GNP of which country? It will be part of GNP of USA. Understand the difference here? It will be calculated in Indian GDP. Why Indian GDP? Because the plant is situated in our economic boundary. So that is why it will be part of our GDP. But it will be part of GNP of USA. Why USA? Because Apple is a company of USA. Now let's try to consider another example. Let's say there's a Tata manufacturing plant in UK. Tata manufacturing plant in UK. So technically, it is situated in the economic boundary of UK. So it will be part of GDP of UK. But according to nationality, it is associated with India. So it will be part of GNP of India. So that is the difference. This talks about nationality irrespective of area. Doesn't matter where it is produced. If it is produced by Indian, it will be part of GNP. This talks about area. It says it doesn't matter who is producing it. If it is produced in our economic boundary, it will be part of GDP. So let me further simplify it. GDP doesn't care or doesn't matter for GDP calculation who is producing. Who means we are talking about Indian or outsider, that is foreign national. It only focus on area. Area means where it is being produced. On the other hand, GNP basically talks about who is producing it. So if it is being produced by Indian, doesn't matter where it is being produced. Let's say there is a Mahindra and Mahindra manufacturing plant in Africa. So technically it is situated in Africa, so it will be part of GDP of Africa. But since it is Indian company, it will be part of GNP of India. So it talks about who is producing it. Doesn't matter where it is produced. Doesn't matter where it is produced. In the next lecture, we will discuss what is the relationship between GDP and GNP. Now, one simple homework for you. If there is Indian embassy in China and there is US citizen working in this Indian embassy. So question is, US citizen is there who is working in Indian embassy in China. So it will be part of GDP of which country and it will be part of GNP of which country? Try to answer that in the comment section. That will show whether you have understood the concept properly or not. Thank you, and that's all for the day.